This pilot project that the chief is doing, would like to do here, is a very limited program. Only our officers who've had the required mental health CIT training be involved in this, and that this be part of that investigation, that program that we were hoping to do, but in a more narrow fashion. So what I'll do is I'll turn it over to the chief for his explanation as to why he wants, before we have the vote, but whether or not we should proceed with it this evening. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. Immediately after the Davis and Washington shooting, which I can't tell you how badly I feel about it, and I would like to say that I'm sorry to the family that we did not have a different alternative at our disposal, but we did not. To that end, when we had our community meeting in the public, I told Commissioner Chan and President Mizuko in the hallway that after in my time as chief, we have not used lethal force on anybody in crisis at all. To that end, the CIT trained to that end to a person in crisis.
You need to hold it down back there, please.
Excuse me, excuse me, Chief. I understand that, but you had your 2 minutes. You will have another public comment, but do not interrupt the speakers, please. If you continue, we're going to have to remove you.
Take me off.
To that end, we advised the department bulletin to create a perimeter, slow officers down when that person is only a danger to themselves. That being the case, we have not used lethal force in those instances. The events as they presented themselves at Washington and Davis, where there had been an aggravated felonious assault, the suspect was leaving the scene, officers gave that person many blocks, over 10 minutes, at which point an officer that contacted him to keep him from going to a more populated area while he was still in possession of the weapon and could have been in danger to others. Could not.
Assassinated him.
Yes, please. Let him finish his statement. You don't have a time.
When turned on by the suspect, had no other option at her disposal other than lethal force. It is at that moment that, when questioned by the community and the press at the meeting, would, if the officers had a taser, make a difference? I honestly believe, as a matter of conscience, that in that instance, as in many of the instances that were described earlier this evening,
please hold it down. Let the chief speak.
Having another less lethal option might have made a difference. In canvassing all the other major city police departments in the country, they all have tasers. The other two major. Memphis, Tennessee, as of December 2011, has gone with tasers. The other 2 major police departments in the Bay Area have tasers. So I believe that out of complete respect for the commission and their commission to make policy to the police department, that at least the discussion should be made. I referenced the subject at the police commission meeting in the Sunnydale, but out of respect for the public and having suffered 10 homicides in June, and knowing that this would be a hotly debated topic, I did not want to call it taser to take away from that community discussion. To that end, I asked that it be placed on the agenda. Here it is, and however it goes tonight, I will absolutely respect the discussion, the community input, and however it goes, but I think it would be irresponsible for me as chief to not ask for something that would allow the officers something short of using a taser. And I would add that some years ago, when this was discussed before, I volunteered to be tased and was tased, and I've suffered no ill effects after that, but I can assure you that there would have been no fight left in me, and we'd be having a conversation just like we are now. So again, I would just leave it at that. There was no desire on my part to be anything less than to promote a public conversation with regard to the issue, because it's been said many times during my 15 months as chief at this very podium by various people. Why aren't we having a discussion about tasers? And after the event the other day, having exhausted all these other means, started CIT training, we have 74 officers trained. I am not asking for tasers for the entire police department. I am only asking for tasers on a pilot basis for those officers that complete CIT training. And with that, I will submit it.
Commissioner Davis.
And Chief, I do appreciate your comments, and I know you did have a discussion with me. And I guess my concern is that the CIT training is for to how to mentally ill individuals, and many of those people haven't committed a crime; they've just decompensated, and they're in the field, or the family requesting help. And if I had known it was coming, I would have asked the city attorney for a legal opinion whether we can actually pick a class of our citizens, like our mentally ill, let's say that we're going to use a taser against them, but no one else. Just this group of specially trained people for mentally ill people. And I mean, I just think if you take that out and say I'm just going to do it for Hispanics, or I'm just going to do it for the like, particular community or something like that, is there going to be a violation of equal protection law? Can we really do that? And so that's I would ask for that. And the second thing is I know we asked you to look for least lethal weapons. And I know we have a rifle or shotgun that does beanbags, and that's not adequate. But the question I have is, how old is that weapon, and what technology do they have today? I mean, do they have smaller weapons, rubber bullets? Is that feasible? And apparently during the protest, there was a lot of issues that seemed to be effective with people. So I didn't hear it. I have not seen anything about what the alternatives other than laser. So I have a lot. I mean, I have a whole thing in here, but I am really concerned about the legality of singling out a particular class of our citizens, and also the legality of us just saying we're going to go to tasers and ignoring our protocol or resolution that we put in place.
I want to be clear, I'm not singling out a demographic of people that it might be used on. I'm singling out a demographic of officers that would have a required training to have it. They would use it as trained and as appropriate as just prescribed by policy, which would also come back before this commission.
But the group of officers of the CIT training, and I believe that is devoted to how to de-escalate individuals in mentally ill situations.
They have more training to deal with the mentally ill. However, they are generalists and respond to calls for service that involve everything.
And the last thing I have to say is, and I have this in my notes, I'm going to bring them up, is you know, why is it taking the CIT so long to get up and running? Is there the leadership behind the CIT, and why are we appearing to drop the conflict resolution without weapons to jump to tasers?
We're not. This would be on top of it.
All right, so I have other issues, but those are my concerns, and I would ask that it go over.
Commissioner Loftus.
Yeah, President, I just have a question actually, because like Commissioner Turman, I wasn't on the body when this resolution was approved, and I just got a copy of it now, so I know the issue is that we could be in violation of it. My question is, it appears that we already are in violation of it. Given that it says we were to get a report on what the less lethal options were within 90 days, and it seems as though a year and a half has gone by. But there was an issue with scheduling. I know, Chief, I don't think you were the chief when this happened, and so maybe there was some miscommunication, but that certainly would be instructive to me to understand an issue that is of this significant concern to the community, and certainly to the police department. 18 months have gone by, so I'd be curious about if there's any insight you have, President Duke, on that. We're on the, or President Marshall. I'm sorry, I just elevated you, not President, Vice President.
He was in charge of the first one, yes.
Oh, okay.
He was the first one. Marshall?